guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I just wanted to sit down and talk to you guys. I did a little poll on Twitter about if you guys wanted to see a St. Patrick's Day makeup look or hear Bexley's birth story. Bexley's birth story won. So yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and tell you guys that story. Okay, so Bexley was due November 8th, and so that's what we planned for, you know, November 8th, whatever. That was the day. And so I remember for like a week before she was born, I would tell Tayton, her dad, my boyfriend, keep your phone on you. She's coming today. Like for a whole week, I would tell him that. And he was like, okay. And so I remember on Monday, we got up and we started getting ready for work. And I told him before he left, he came in to kiss me goodbye, and I told him, keep your phone on today. And he said, okay. Like, just like, we didn't think anything of it because I had been telling him that every day for like a week, right? So we didn't think anything of it. And so he left, and I was having contractions. They weren't bad, they weren't painful, but they were about 10 minutes apart. And so I just, you know, I didn't really think anything of it. So I just kept getting ready, was curling my hair, got my makeup done, got ready and everything, and went to work. And I had to be to work at 8, and so I got there about 7:50, and I got in, and at this point I was working at a bank, and so I went in and like I got my drawer out, all my money and everything, and went and started getting my station set up. And around 8:30 I had to use the restroom, and so I walked back to the bathroom and went pee. And all of a sudden I heard like this little gush, and I was like, I don't think I just peed more, like something else is happening. And so I got up and like TMI, looked in the toilet, and I could tell that it was a little bit cloudy. Urine is not cloudy, and so I knew at that point something's happening. And so I walked out, and like the ladies that I work with, they're so amazing, I love them, and they've all had children before. And this is my first baby, so I walk out and I'm like, excuse me, like, what does it look like when your water breaks? And she was like, well, it's, you know, it's kind of cloudy, like, and I was like, okay, well, I'm pretty sure my water just broke, because I went to the bathroom, got done doing my business, and all of a sudden it sounded like I was going to the bathroom again, but I could tell I wasn't going to the bathroom. So she's like, okay, well, your water probably broke. And I was like, okay. So I went in and I told my boss, and she was like, well, your water probably did break. Like, who knows, you know, like, so we just carried on with our morning. And I went over and I like kept working, whatever. And at this point I could just tell that it was damp down there. And I was like, I'm pretty sure my water broke. Like, I'm leaking. It's weird. So another lady that I work with went and got me some pads, and I used a pad, and I texted my cousin who's a nurse, and I told her what was happening, and she told me that, you know, if your water did break, you're going to have to come to the hospital, and you're going to have to stay either way. And I said, okay, well, I'll just come, I'll finish up here what I'm doing, and I'll head down to the hospital around 10. And she's like, okay. Well, my doctor, wasn't working on a Monday, and I was like, crap, like I wanted to see my doctor, you know, that's who you go to all your appointments with for 40 weeks. And so this was on a Monday, so I was 39 weeks and 6 days pregnant. So I go home, or I called Tayton and I told him, I was like, my water broke, it's leaking, I think I need to go. Like, I think my water is leaking, so I need to go to the hospital. And he's like, okay. So he met me at home, and I went in and I showered and changed my clothes, and we already had all of our bags packed. So we both showered because we'd both been at work, loaded up all of our stuff, and we headed down to the hospital. And they checked me in at the front, and I had already pre-registered and everything, so they just gave me my wristband. And usually, like, if you think your water has broke, it hasn't. Like, a lot of women just get confused, and so I was like, oh, psyching myself out, oh, it didn't break, it's too early, whatever. So we get into the hospital, and they ended up having to call my doctor in, anyways, because there was some other things going on there. And so I get checked into my room or everything. They have me put on a gown, and my doctor comes in, and they have these little strips that they can see if your water has really ruptured. And so he tested me, and immediately the strip went a different color. So he knew that it was amniotic fluid that was leaking. So my water had broken. So at this point, it's probably like almost noon, and they checked my cervix, whatever. They weren't dilated. They were dilated to a 1. My bad. So I was dilated to a 1. My doctor tells me, well, you're only dilated to a 1. You're not effaced. If nothing is happening by about 4 o'clock, we will try and get you started on some Pitocin just to speed up your labor, because you know your water can only be broken for so long. And so which was good, because my mom and my sister were on their way from New Mexico. So I was like, well, I just want to hold it off as long as I can so that my mom and my sister can make it here before I have Bexley. Yeah, so they strapped me up to the monitors. They made sure everything was going good with the baby, and every hour for 15 minutes they would strap me up to the monitor. And so in between then I would get up and walk around. So about 4:15 rolls around, and I'm still only dilated to a 1. So my doctor's like, we're gonna go ahead and start you on some Pitocin and get things moving. And so the nurse comes in, and she gets me hooked onto the Pitocin and everything, which, by the way, works so fast. So they get me on Pitocin about 4:15, 4:30-ish. And by 7, I am having the worst contractions ever. Like hunched over, like Tayton's trying to grab my arm and like support me, because they're just the most painful contractions ever. And so I'm walking down the hallway because my mom and my sister have gotten there by this time. And so they went down to the restaurant in the hospital where I live to eat. And so I'm walking down there, and like midway down the hallway I'd get a really bad contraction, and then I'd keep walking. So yeah, I was just having really bad contractions. So finally I get into the cafeteria, and I'm talking to my family, and I'm having contractions. I'm like, I'm gonna go lay back down. This is bad. So I go and lay back down, and it's like 7, like I said. I go lay back down, and pretty soon my nurse comes in, who was amazing, by the way. She was the best nurse ever. And she comes in, it's about 7:30-ish, and she's like, how are you feeling? And I'm like, I want that epidural. I want an epidural right now. These contractions are horrible. I want an epidural. She's like, okay. So she goes and gets the anesthesiologist to administer my epidural. Little did we know, my spine apparently is a tiny bit crooked, but not enough that it was noticeable. And so every time they would go to do the epidural, it would twinge on my left side, and I could feel it like hitting a nerve, and it would just send like a shock through my whole left side. And so 6 tries later, yes, 6 tries, I had 6 different epidurals. And this was nobody's fault. Like my anesthesiologist who was doing the epidural is amazing. Like, he is so good. It's just that the way my body's set up, it just didn't want to work. So finally the 6th one, get it in, it's perfect, the best epidural ever. And it starts to work, and I'm feeling great. I can't feel my contractions, nothing's hurting. So I lay down to go to sleep. And by this time it's like 7:45. And so I lay down and I go to sleep, and my mom asks the nurse, well, are we gonna check her one more time? And they're like, yeah, we'll go ahead and check her. And so she checks me, and she's like, you're dilated to a 4, and your cervix is almost completely thinned. I'm like, okay. And so it's like 7:45, like I said. So then I go to sleep, and I wake up, and I think it's about maybe 11:30, and she's like, I'm gonna check your cervix again, like just see how quickly we're moving along, and just see where we're at. And so she checks my cervix, completely dilated, completely thinned. And she's like, okay, it's time for you to have this. So she calls my doctor, and at this point my contractions they're really close together. I think they were like a minute apart. But the thing that was scary is every time I was having a contraction, Bexley's heart rate would go up really high, which is unusual because I think normally babies' heart rates go down when you have a contraction, but Bexley's was going up. And so she called my doctor and he came in and checked me. Well, what happened is Bexley was still really high up in my birth canal. And so what they wanted to do was just let me have a few more contractions to maybe help drop her lower, get her lower into my birth canal. Well, since her heart rate was going up, Dr. Cole wanted to go in and put a monitor in her scalp and just make sure everything was okay. And so he had me, like put my legs up in the stirrups, and he had me push a couple times so that he could get the monitor in Bexley's head. And so he gets my legs up and he asks Tayton, hey, do you want to like hold her leg up so we can have her push a little bit? And Tayton is like really woozy of that stuff. And so he's like, yeah, like all anxious. And it was just so funny because you could tell by the look on his face that he was really nervous. And so I was like, babe, do you want, like, you can switch my mom's spots. Like if you just want to sit and watch, my mom can hold my leg. And he's like, yeah, I want to do that. And so my mom held my leg, and so put the monitor in. And he's like, well, she's low enough in the birth canal that I think we should just start pushing because, she's ready to come out. And so I'm like, wow, okay, well, I guess we're going to have a baby. And so we get all ready, everything set up, and I only wanted Tayton and my mom in there. And it was me, Tayton, my mom, my grandma, and my twin sister. And so my sister and my grandma left, and it was just me, Tayton, my mom, my doctor, and 2 nurses. So at this point, it's like, I think it's 12:11, I think. And so Dr. Cole tells me, my nurse told me like how I'm going to push, how you breathe, everything. She said it's going to be a little bit hard, but you can do it. We got this. And I was like, okay. And so we get everything set up. I get my legs up, whatever, and they tell me to start pushing. So I start pushing. And the way they had me push is you push one time for 10 seconds. After the 10 seconds, you hurry, catch your breath, and go right into the next push for 10 more seconds. Catch your breath, and hurry, go right into the next push for 10 seconds. So those 3 pushes are 1 total. And I did that 3 times. So 9 whole pushes, and Bexley was here. It took her 14 minutes to get here, and we were making jokes about, oh, are you sure this is your first baby? Just because usually it doesn't go that smoothly. I had a really easy labor with Bexley, which I'm so grateful for. But yeah, she was here in 14 minutes, and they pulled her out and set her on my chest, and Tayton cut the cord. And the thing that was kind of scary is she didn't cry at all. She was just like, looking around. Well, here I am. Here I am, guys. And they laid her on my chest, and one of my nurses was kind of panicking a little bit just because she wasn't crying. And so she was swatting her butt a little bit, and she let out one good squeal, and that was it. She just laid there, and from the minute she was born, she's had her head up. She's been looking around. Like, just from the second she came out, she's been able to hold her head up. She has really good head control. So, yeah, I had her at 12:25, and she slept that night. They just laid her on my chest and waited for her to find my breast so she could latch and feed and eat. And she did. She ate and went to sleep, and we got her wrapped up in her blanket, her little hat on her, and put her in her bassinet, and she slept the whole night. She slept all through the night. And I remember the thing that I was most excited about is I rolled over immediately after she went to sleep, and I laid flat on my belly, and I was out. I was so excited that I was finally able to sleep on my belly. So yeah, it was an amazing day. So she was born on her due date. She was born Tuesday, November 8th, election day actually, at 12:25. She weighed 7 pounds, 6 ounces, and was 20 inches long. The most perfect baby girl. We love her dearly, and she is just amazing. She will be 4 months old on the 8th. So next Wednesday, she'll be 4 months old. She is the most beautiful baby. We love her so much, and she's just amazing. She lights up our world. We just love her so much. We don't actually post a lot of pictures of her at the moment, just because, we just aren't really comfortable with that right now. So Eventually, I'll probably get her up here on my channel where you guys can see her, and we'll get more pictures of her up when she gets a little bit older. But for the time being, she is just amazing. We love her so much, and she's so much fun. She's still got beautiful blue eyes and not very much hair, but the hair she does have is blonde. And if you guys have seen her dad, which I'm sure most of you have, you know that he's very blonde and has very blue eyes. And so she definitely looks just like her dad through and through. The only thing she has in mind is my nose, but she is perfect. She's the most beautiful baby. We love her so much. She's amazing. She's just so much fun, and I can't wait to share her with you guys. I know she's going to have an attitude like me. I just know she is, but that's okay. You know, apple doesn't fall far from the tree, they say. So we'll see. But yeah, I'm so glad that I could share this story with you guys, and I know it's quite long, but I really hope that you guys made it this far, because it really was one of the best days of my life. And if you follow me on Instagram, you've probably seen pictures of Bexley, but if you don't, I will put my Instagram name right here so that you guys can go and follow me and see a few pictures of her. She's gorgeous. But yeah, thank you so much for watching this video. Make sure and hit the thumbs up button, and please subscribe. Thank you.